It is merely a negative blessing. With good health, you may hope to reach your highest mental and spiritual development, free from the harassment of soul-racking pain. But without good health, men have reached the summit of Parnassus and have dragged their tortured bodies up behind them. Inadequacy of business specialization. Nor does success necessarily follow or require long preparation in a particular field. The first occupation of the successful man is rarely the one in which he achieves his ultimate triumph. In the changing conditions of our day, one needs a better weapon than the mere knowledge of a particular trade, vocation, or profession. He needs that mastery of himself and others that is the fundamental secret of success in all fields of endeavor. Futility of advice in business. It is well to tell you beforehand that in this basic course of reading, we shall be content with no mere cataloguing of the factors that are commonly regarded as essential to success. We shall do no moralizing. You'll find here that no elaboration of the ancient aphorisms, honesty is the best policy, and genius is the infinite capacity for taking pains. The world has had its fill of mere exhaustions to industry, frugality, and perseverance. For some thousands of years, men have preached to the lazy man, be industrious, and to the timid man, be bold. But such phrases have never solved and never can solve the problem for the man who feels himself lacking in both industry and courage. The why and the how. It is easy enough to tell the salesman that he must approach his prospect with tact and confidence. But tact and confidence are not the qualities that can be assumed and discarded like a Sunday coat. Industry and courage and tact and confidence are well enough, but we must know the why and the how of these things. It is well enough to preach that the secret of achievement is to be found in courage faith and courage confidence, and that the way to acquire these qualities is to assume that you have them. There is no denying the undoubted fact that men and women have been rescued from the deepest mire of poverty and despair and lifted to plains of happy abundance by what is known as faith. But what is faith? And faith in what? And why? And how? Fundamental training for efficiency. Obviously, we cannot achieve certain and definite results in this or any other field so long as we continue to deal with materials that we do not understand. Yet, that is what all men are doing today. The elements of truth are befogged in vague, amateurish mysticism, and the subject of individual efficiency, when we get beyond mere preaching and moralizing, is a chaos of isms. The time is ripe for a real analysis of these important problems, a serious and scientific analysis with a clear and practical exposition of facts and principles and rules of conduct. Men and women must be fundamentally trained so that they can look deep into their own minds and see where the screw is loose, where oil is needed, and so readjust themselves and their living for a greater efficiency. The virus of failure. The embittered, the superstitious, the prejudiced, all those who scorpion-like sting themselves with the virus of failure, must be given an antidote of understanding that will repair the deranged mental material. The conscientious but foolish businessman who is worrying himself into failure and an early grave must be taught the physiological effects of ideas and given a new standard of values. The profligate must be lured from his emotional excesses and debaucheries, not by moralizings, but by showing him just how these things fritter his energies and retard his process. Practical formulas for every day. It must be made plain to the successful promoter, to the rich banker, how a man may be a financial success and yet a miserable failure so far as true happiness is concerned, and how by scientific self-development he can acquire greater riches within than all his vaults of steel will hold. This basic course of reading offers just such an analysis. An exposition